because I've just now started again staying in touch with them. Okay, so you know, learn your own lesson, Mike. Get your database together, start sending out messages, reconnecting. So I've been doing that, right? But this one of our agents called up one day and said, "Hey, I'm part time. I need some help with a listing." Right? So I was going to refer to another agent. She kind of said, "No, I'd rather you, if you could handle it." So I brought another agent in that was new to us and needed some help on listings too, right? So bottom line is I did everything, but I'm not bragging or anything. But the I did an open house Sunday. Why? Because she really needs to sell. And we started out, if you did a CMA by square footage and extras and everything, if you really, really delved into it, the house is worth probably 270 to 280, right? So we listed it at 280 for a minute, brought it down to 270, started to get showings, brought it down to 260, open house. We did 4 weekends in a row. We did an open house. Picked up a couple of buyers. I didn't do all the open houses. I had other agents do it so they could get opportunity. Four or five. There's four other. I think what was five at one time. There was four other townhouses on the market in this townhouse community. Right now, here's the message. He had the open house sign on the door on the thing. A buyer came by and knocked on the door during the week. The homeowner was home. She answered the door against my instructions, etc. But anyway, that happened. I didn't know about it. I scheduled the open house. I didn't really want to do it this Sunday. I'll be honest with you. I've been working, Saturdays, but I said, you know what? I made a commitment. I do everything I could to help this lady. I'm going to live up to it, right? So I get the balloon Sunday morning. Agent wants to show it at 1:30. The open house starts at 2:30 at 2. So I get there at 1:30. I'm sorry, but I like to sell. I want to make sure the message gets across. They were there till 2. I could tell the guy wasn't sold on it. This is the first unit right on a 4-lane road, the first unit in coming into the subdivision, townhouses, right? It's close to the road. You could, if you're outside, all you hear is cars and trucks going by. The rest of the neighborhood is back and it's big, right? This was the model home and it was in a building. I think there's 5 units in it, 4 or 5, whatever it is. They're all brick all the way around. The only building in all these, whatever, 200 units that are in there that are all brick. It's also a little bigger because what happened was the developer builders scaled down a little bit and saved some money and did some things. So anyway, 2 o'clock comes around. Right after the agent leaves, I'm still setting up for the open house. I got the sign up sheet out and a couple brochures and a couple masks, just in case, right? And knock on the door. Can we come in? Yeah, two ladies. All right. She says, "Oh, yeah, we would like to see the house." I said, "Yeah, come on." She says, "I've already seen it." I said, "Oh, were you over with your realtor?" She said, "No, I just stopped by one day and the homeowner let me in." I said, "Oh, shame on you." I said, "That's not going to help you at all." I'm joking with her, right? So we start talking. Anyway, she went right upstairs. She wanted to go upstairs. So apparently the whole upstairs was the big issue with her. Downstairs, one big open thing. So, there's not much but upstairs, 3 bedrooms, master suite, etc., whatever, right? So they come down and so we started talking about the property and the value. Thank you, Steve. And as we're talking about it, I'm pointing out some things and the fact that there was a model. There's $19,000 worth of extras, if you will, documentable on the property and why they were selling so quickly. They've only been there a year. It's only been occupied a year. Blah blah blah. And it came down to, well, upstairs. What's the square footage upstairs? Now I happen to have printed out Realist, right? I also had a copy of the floor plan that she had given me. The floor plan said there's 1,928 square feet in the property, but there's a 2-car garage on the first floor. So where's there more heated and air square footage? First floor or second floor? As a realtor, this is a quiz. Who wants to answer it? Two-story structure, garage downstairs, two-car garage.
The first floor should have the more.
Okay, well, think about a box, two levels,
Right.
same amount of square footage on both floors. Heated and air square footage is what I'm asking. Is there more heated and air downstairs or upstairs?
Upstairs.
Right. They thought it was just the opposite. So I had the facts to show them, and they were happy. So I asked them, I said, so Yusina, what do you think? She says, well, if we're going to make an offer, we're going to make an offer quickly. I said, what's quickly? She said, by tomorrow. I said, okay, great. Thanks very much. Now I got out of her, she had an agent. I got her agent's name and number, right? As soon as they left, I called the agent. But what was interesting, when they were leaving, the buyer and her friend, right, were wrapping it up, and the friend said, "Do you have a card, Mike?" The buyer said, "Oh, I've already got one," because I had given the buyer one when she came in. The friend said, "Oh, but I'd like one too." You see what I'm saying? So she was impressed because I was knowledgeable and I was confident the whole way. And I think that confidence, backed up by having good knowledge, listening, finding out what is your concern, what is the objection, what is they wanted to know how much square footage was upstairs, because she needs an office up there in one of the rooms, and she wanted the exact dimensions of the rooms, blah, 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 right? Having the information for her and presenting it in a way with humility, but confidence too. So, now again, not everybody does open houses. Not everybody knocks on doors. But if there's one message I would say you should get from this program, this coaching experience, is the quicker you can get face to face with people, the quicker you're going to make money. Okay? Virtual is virtual. Phone is the next level. The highest level is in person.
Right.
Okay?
I agree.
That's the highest level of communication. We didn't create it. Our creator created it. We've tried to make it almost as good, but virtual ain't as good as real. Any way you do it, virtual is better than an email. I mean, you can do a Zoom and see people and all that, right? So you want to be doing all that stuff. But I guess the message today is everything we've covered up to now should be getting you into the routine, which we're going to talk about how to do that and run your business like a business today, but should be getting you in the routine of doing certain consistent activities that lead to the next step. The virtual, the marketing, the internet gives you leads, opportunities. You make conversations out of those opportunities with more of them on a regular basis, you're going to get it to the next step. You're going to get to the appointment. You're going to get to the meeting in the office with the buyer. Again, I was in the office Saturday. I got to tell you, our top agents in our company, the ones that are like 80 and 90 last year, down the hall in Duluth, every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, they have buyers coming by the office to start the process. They meet them first. They get them pre-approved. Then they take them out, show them a handful of houses, bring them back in, write up the offer, close it 3 or 4 or 5 weeks later. So, there is a process that works, and listings definitely are big. I think Steve's playing around a little bit with Sisu here, and he's going to pull up some numbers. But if you look there's the leaders right there. We're accumulating some great points, and it's a pretty, again, we're going to be giving away money for overall numbers, right, in the A and the B group, right, but also for conversations. No, it's appointments set, right, and listings obtained. If I'm not mistaken, if you go back to the VPR Central, to the site, we have exactly what's going to count for the cash winners. Okay, So you want to be setting listing appointments, getting agencies signed, buyer agencies. That's the key. Setting appointments, right? And then the points also, overall points include every category. So wherever you're getting points in any one of the categories, from conversations, leads, conversations, appointments, appointments set, appointments attended, as we call them, appointments met, agencies signed, under contracts, closings. And you can see we're having some, right now, looking at listings closed so far. Okay, so this is, and the dates, if Steve's got the same dates I had, if you check the dates, we're going from the beginning of July, or the first week of July, till the present. So roughly 5.5, 6 weeks at this point, month and a half. So if you look at some of the numbers, and here, these are the raw numbers. So Delana has 274 conversations she's had. Okay,
Wow.
but again, divide that by 6. Okay, 6 would be what, about 40 something a week. You divide that by 5 days a week, you're talking about 8 to 10 calls a day, or conversations a day. Again, and that you could probably accomplish that in a couple hours if you think about it. You know, even if you're just dialing yourself and getting, you know, at some point 8 or 10 people on the phone, asking them a key question. And again, what is the question? You want to sell? You need to buy? You know anybody that might be thinking about it? You know, so again, congratulations, because again, if you look at her results, also John doing, this is with appointments set, okay? A lot of, again, what is it, 19 that I'm seeing there for John, right? Excellent,
Yep.
right? Lila Weaver, she's got 10, right? So again, the more opportunities you get in front of people, that's about 2 a week. John's up to about 3 a week. You know, 10 would be 5 weeks, 2 a week, right? 2 appointments a week. John's up to like 4 or 5 a week, you know, 1 a day. And that's what the pros do. You talk to, you look at our top producers, they're starting relationships at a rate of 1 or 2 new relationships a week. That's what it takes to do 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 transactions a year. You know, if you want to do 20, cut the number in half. But again, work the numbers in your favor. Put the odds in your favor. The conversion ratio, I was studying the numbers just to kind of keep this in mind. Right now, from number of calls, total number of calls, right, to number of listings signed, agencies signed, either a seller's listing or a buyer agency signed. And that's, you know, some are working with buyers, but they don't have signed agencies yet. I'll be, you know, I know that's going on. So the ones there was 40 of those with about, I think the raw number was almost 1,600 conversations. It came down to a little over 30 to 35 conversations to get to a contract. And that was, again, to the listings under contract. So you got listings obtained, and also the listings under contract, buyer agencies, et cetera, under contract, was just a number just below that. And again, that number will build, I think, as we go through, because we're getting some momentum. You know, that's the end of the process. The key is how many appointments now per conversation. And the other thing I would like to talk about, and Steve, you throw some things in here if you got some comments on the numbers we're looking at here. You see how many appointments set? It looks like about, for 41 appointments set, 450. That's a lot of conversations. That's about, what's that, 10? About 15 conversations gets 1 appointment, right? 10 times 41 would be 410. So it's probably about 12 or 13 conversations is leading to an appointment set. That's pretty strong. And that's better numbers than what, you know, some of the trainers, the Tom Ferry or whatever, they say 50 to 1. Now that's an appointment. When you get down to how many under contract, 26 under contract, okay? So that's about 1 out of 25. Okay, so 25 conversations leads to an under contract. So, again, just to give you all an overall view of what, and that's why it's important to kind of keep track of this, because it gives you a handle on, now I know what I need to do. If I want to make X amount of money, I got to talk to 20 people this week. If I talk to 20 people, I'm going to get an appointment for sure, and I'll probably get a sale, too. If I get the appointment, and again, okay, so it takes 3 appointments, and if you talk to 20 and you're calling for sale by owners, referrals, expired people that are telling you up front they want to sell, okay? So you're not just calling everybody under the sun. Everybody under the sun works if you don't have any of those, if you're not getting enough out of the A-listers, so to speak. And again, you should be calling the people that you have relationships every week, touching base with them. How's it going? How's the family? Haven't talked to you in a while. Did you ever do that to the house that you may have some things you recall about the relationship. It could be, in fact, it could be just a relationship that has nothing to do with you selling or helping them buy a house. It's a neighbor, it's a friend of a friend, it's a parent of your child, your child's friend. You know what I'm saying? Somebody from school, some other sphere of influence that you might be involved with, some activity. Just touch base with them, and again, you talk to 10 people you know very well, and ask them if they know anybody that might be interested, if they'd be so nice as to refer them to you. I guarantee you're going to get referrals. Okay? And again, so build it into we're going to talk a lot about scheduling and stuff. Look at
this is interesting here. I mean, look at, we're supposedly under this terrible, dreaded COVID, but look at some of the volume. This is just in the last month and a half. Right. That, Jeffrey Hannes closed $1.8 million in business. Tanisha Battle, 1.2 million. Alice Matthews, a little over $1 million. That's just the last month since July 1st, is it? Since July 1st? Yeah.
That's the dates up there. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, since July 1st. And, this is not what we focus on in the coaching. We figure we get you focused on talking to people in an intelligent manner to where it leads to, that next step. And, and then we also had things like 5-star reviews up here, that's not gonna, but that helps. We want you, when you're sitting there, what can I be doing to make sure I'm not a statistic? Because we had somebody says, I'm worried about becoming a statistic. I said, well, it's a very legitimate concern. When 87% of all the people who get their license are out of their business in 5 years. We take it very. That's why Mike and I are having this program. It bothers us. We go to lunch. We talk about how much that bothers us, and we feel kind of defenseless at helping agents. But the thing is, we can lead you to water. Can't make you drink. We can show you the door, but you're going to have to walk in and do it. But these are all the things, the things we have on, 5-star reviews is going to help you. Yeah. Obviously, we've had one ambassador. I'm not trying to plug that, but it is ongoing passive residual income. We have people that make $30,000 or so a year. I feel like you make $30,000 a year. I don't have to worry about you failing. So that's a good thing there. But if that's not something that it's you, then you don't have to do it. But conversations is the number one thing. Right. And so let's look real quick, and then we'll get out of the stats. Yep. Let's look at people's kind of their dashboard. I like to see this. I think I couldn't put this last week because it doesn't look at me as an agent. It looks at me as an administrator, even though I am a person, but right. They don't look at me as a person. So I'd have to create another account that says Steve Wagner, and I could do this stuff. But I think this is Delana Cotton. So she wants to her goals to have 40 conversations a month. And I believe we've got this set up. Well, it's set up. It's a little unreal. She already had 164 conversations. Yeah. It's possible. It really is. I mean, it is very.
I think that's since the beginning of the program.
Okay. Yeah. But she wants to have 40 a month, and she wants to set 3 buyer appointments a month, and she wants to meet the ones she sets, And then she wants to sign 2 out of 3. That's kind of her goals. And then of the 2 that she signs, she doesn't know. She talks about her due diligence that she does and having them talk with lenders. She believes they're going to get under contract. It's interesting, doesn't have anything for the close there. She obviously wants to work a strong buyer side and doesn't really care that much about the list side. I'll pull up Lori's here and you tell me if there's something, if this looks right. I was looking at some of it didn't look. Where am I? I don't have my glasses on, so you can see me squinting like crazy. A little bit further down. Where are you, Lori? Oh, there she is. There she is. Okay, so I know Lori likes to work, but let's say your 50 conversations, so she's good to go on that. She's met her quota there. That's a lot of appointments, Lori. Are you really want to set 10 buyers appointments and 10 listing appointments? I don't know.
No,
Okay.
no, it's not realistic. I need to change that. I definitely don't want to meet that many buyers, but I will. If they come about, I will.
Well, that's where, appointments, set buyer appointments. If you go to the Sync training, and you have internet leads, they teach you how to set appointments. I mean, in a real call session, you go to Sync, a lot of people had 6 buyer appointments from a 30, 45-minute call. That doesn't, those are weaker appointments in my mind because you're just meeting them at a property. And, and then you're kind of going from there. When you go on a listing presentation, to me, that's a lot, a lot more powerful. It's not to say that buyers, but this is just the way that is. I mean, I don't want to set other people's goals, but I think, 4 would be a good one, right?
Well, I've got 4 right now. I've got 4 buyers, buyer brokerage agreements right now.
Okay. Do you just not put them in there? Or is this not showing up right?
Well, they were before we started.
Okay.
So I didn't put them in there. I didn't think that we were supposed to. So
you can load them, but
okay.
What we're going to count for the program is for what's done from July 1st until September 30th.
Okay, all right. I think I might only have 1 since July, but I'm not sure. But I'll go ahead and load those because I want it to be accurate.
Right.
Okay.
And not load anything that.
Steve,
that
double check the date too, Lori. I appreciate that. When you go, well, anyway, just on your challenges, you may have what's the dates on it? There's a place where maybe look at Jeff Hanna's too, because he's obviously had some results. Let's see where he's getting them from.
Rain, I was going to pull up Rain's here. I don't know if she's. We'll look up John in a second.
Yeah.
But yes, I think 25 a month is a little low for a goal on that. I would be 40 or 50 at least. I would actually encourage you. What Tom Ferry says, for every 40 or 50, he says 50. That you can expect a sale eventually. As you know, we work in arrears. We get paid in arrears. We're getting paid now for what we were doing 3 months ago. That's why at the end of the quarter, we want to feel like we have got your momentum going. But obviously, Rain is a buyer agent too, which is great. And this is kind of her goals and
good numbers there. Absolutely, look at that. She set 9 appointments in about a month and a half. Met all but 1 of them already, and signed 5 buyer agencies. I mean, if that average commission is $8,000, if you want to look at it, 8 times 5, that's what, about $40,000 in commission she's earned in 6 weeks, or is going to earn as they go through the process. So
yep, a lot of conversations there. She took it seriously, and again, it's just a simple theory, simple concept. You do a lot better when you're talking to people, and we're talking about prospecting conversations, not like, hey, Chris, how you doing, man? How do you think the Falcons are going to do this year? If you finish that conversation up with, hey, that's fine to lead with that. But then to say, all right, Chris, have a good, oh, by the way, Chris, I forgot to ask you the most important question here. I'm in real estate, and I rely on my good friends like you to refer people to me. Are you going to be buying or selling? Just wanted to always try to keep up with this stuff. if you're going to be looking in the near future, or you're any real estate going to be going on in your future.
Yep.
No? Say
Yep.
no.
One thing,
Then say follow up if he says no. Well, also, again, referrals are a very important part of what we do. Can you, do you know anyone at your work? I know you're in, you go to, you are a soccer player. If you know, do you know anyone now? No? All right. Well, will you please keep your mind open, as you're talking to somebody? That is 100% how I get my business. Thank you, buddy. Well, man, I'll call you in a month or so. We can talk about the Falcons again. Kind of lead like that, kind of do a little something, give them something, that they're interested in. Oh, by the way, and then lead, I think, end with that you're not there for business. I think that's the best way to do it. The way you talk to every type of prospect is a little different. And again, we try to go over as much as we can in this course dialogue, but
yeah. And I'm going to, we'll get everybody set up, and we've talked about some of those scripts or dialogues. It's really dialogues and the concept behind it and those conversations. And we'll do some more reviewing on that before we finish this group of sessions, so to speak. But Steve, yeah, let me pull up, if you want to transfer the screen, I'll take it over. And
let me see. I
got to do screen share.
You're good to go.
Okay, let me do that. Hold on a second here. Boom. And we go share. You all see Serge and Launch?
yes.
Okay, good. All righty, there it is in living color. It's beautiful, isn't it? I don't know who designed this. I think Steve had something to do with this background there. He's got the technology, right? So, okay, so we're talking about that. We're down here, session 6, right? We moved down the pipe there. Sisu, we've talked about that, how important it is. And we're going to kind of, you're going to see this in a different or a similar view as we go through today's session. We had some successes, and I'm going to leave it open right now. Who wants to tell a story? I told 2 or 3 as we were warming up there, success stories. Who'd like to share something that really, really, happened? It was great last week. Go ahead. I can see somebody's ready. Speak up.
Mike, I'd like to share a story. This is Dawn.
Hey, Don.
Hi. I got the opportunity for a listing appointment this week, and I actually didn't have my presentation ready to go. I think I had done like 4 pages of it.
Okay.
And, I attempted not to do the appointment immediately, like within the next 24 hours, but I knew that would hurt me. So I went ahead and took on the challenge, and I asked the customer or client, I'm available from 11 o'clock. This is the following day. I'm available from 11 o'clock on. What time would you like? And she took the first time, 11. So that was like, oh boy. All right. So I managed to pull together the presentation. I want to recommend that you not wait until you get that call to have your presentation together. But one of the things in my mind was, why would someone who's a complete stranger sign up with me on my first visit with them? So I was nervous about that, but I decided to just pull together the best presentation I can that any other agent would have matched, and then let the chips fall where they may. Yep. So I want to say, both Mike and Steve, thanks for all the script suggestions, because one of the things that I asked from the presentation, I did use the template that's online, one of the 3. But anyway, I asked after I presented my marketing plan, do you feel that this marketing plan will accomplish our goal? And it gave them an opportunity to express any reservations. So they ended up saying was, yes, I think this plan will work. So then the next thing I had to do was overcome in my head, I don't want to ask them for this presentation. It's just something weird where you don't want to ask for something, but I knew I had to do it. And I made sure I had the listing agreement all completed as you had recommended. So I was able to just glide right into, well, here's the listing agreement, and let me explain what's on it. And so I went through that. And because I did the net proceeds sheet, that was, grounds for us agreeing on the price. I had done the comps and everything. So we were able to settle on a price. And basically they signed, and I couldn't believe it because I had this reservation. Like, they don't know me. Why would they say on one meeting, why would they agree to sign? But anyway, it all worked out, and I am just grateful for all of this training and the coaching on what to say, so you can overcome those little voices in your head that make you not want to do this. Like, I don't think of myself as a salesperson. So, this is a challenge for me, but through the coaching, I was able to get my first listing with a stranger, because before it's been like family members.
Sure.
And just wanted to share that to help motivate anyone else who's out there who might be afraid, and who might not have done like listing presentations. But this formula does work if you come prepared and you listen to the tips. It will help you accomplish getting your listings.
Let's hear it for Dawn. Is that
All
good?
right.
Come on.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. That's awesome. That makes
I know Steve and I are very humble right now thinking about this, but thank you for saying that, because the things that we're teaching are tried and true. It's basic psychology. And the asking, well, just last week we talked about confirming the listing, right?
Yeah.
How'd you
Yeah.
like the market? You think the marketing? How about the company? You comfortable with virtual property? Oh yeah, all that stuff. What about, how's that number look to you? Any questions? No? Okay, let's keep moving forward, right? You did it. Beautiful. Unbelievable.
I got a quick question for Dawn. How did you arrive at that lead? Because that
I got
wasn't
to do Opcity.
Opcity. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay, great.
Right. But now you have no problem picking up the phone and calling the neighbors around there and say, hey, I just listed their house. And you know what? Sometimes we get buyers that love the neighborhood, but it's just not the right floor plan. So I thought I'd make a couple calls and see if you might be thinking about selling, or maybe know one of your neighbors is thinking about selling it, now or in the near future. So start to work the neighborhood now. And
Right.
you'll see. And then when you get it under contract, you've got more bragging rights, right? So all that.
Okay,
Good.
great.
statistically speaking, that 70% of the time, the sellers will go with the very first person that they kind of meet with and lock on with. And so, I really admire you for going on that appointment. And I want to encourage everybody, it doesn't matter if people say no, they'll say no for some of the most bizarre reasons. That's no reflection on you at all. I know that sounds like, well, like what we say for everything, but it's true. And I'm so happy that you got it, because I know that makes you feel better. That creates momentum. I believe in momentum so much. But so just keep harnessing it. Some may, every once in a while you do get no's, and Mike and I get no's too. I don't do it as much, anymore. But, and also the thing I was thinking about is, if the way I would do it is very structured and very by the book and very, things like that. But my wife will go out with a yellow notepad, and we'll just stare. I said, eye time, don't get so, I learned from her, quite honestly. Yeah, that right there. And she would, she's just human to human, staring at them in the eyes, truly, trying to soak in the moment, figure out how to serve. She has, between you and me, she has no presentation. So, a lot of people get over, I gotta have the perfect presentation. And no, not necessarily, but you gotta come off as caring and competent. And generally that's gonna be, and that's what you came off as, is caring and competent.
Yep.
And, a lot of people, I'm not ready. I gotta, not perfect. Not, 1 out of 10 times you wish you had, you were perfect and everything. But anyways, that's all. That's awesome. That's why we do this stuff, honestly.
Steve and Mike,
Yes.
I got a new listing this week and 2 new buyers.
All right.
Excellent.
And I closed on a really troubling property. We tried to close Friday, and after 3 hours in the attorney's office, we put it off till Tuesday. And after 2 hours in the attorney's office
Oh,
on
boy.
Tuesday, we did close on it.
Right.
Thank goodness.
Yvonne,
Yeah.
let me ask the question that Chris is going to ask. Those
Okay.
listings, where did they come from?
Well, the listing that I got, I had a referral. It was a referral.
Excellent.
And then once I got their listing, they talked to me about buying a home here. And I'm going to get their referral from California. I'm going to refer an agent to them there because they have a huge farm in California.
Wow.
So I can benefit off of that. So they were a listing and a buyer and a potential referral. And then the other one, after I closed on this house, this troubling house, the
Right.
sellers asked me to find them a house. So I got a buyer's agreement on that. And then after they move into their home, then I'm going to sell their current home.
Wow.
So
Excellent.
that'd be another listing for it. But I think the way that you get it is just to be low key, let them know you're there to help. You are there to help. I really believe that. And at the end of the day, at the closing table, when you leave, I always thank them for honoring me with that and having the confidence in me to sell their property, and would they mind giving me a recommendation?
Right.
And
You said something there that struck me, that it's almost like again, a paradoxical situation. You know, Tom Hopkins always says that, you want to make them feel relaxed, but it's a strange thing. You want them to feel relaxed, but then you kind of want to pump them up at the same time. I've seen some people go in there just like, like jittery and all this, there's too much energy and too much, I'm going to sell. No, you study Tom Hopkins, he just has a relaxing demeanor, and that's real important. So sounds like you both of you guys did a good job with that.
Well, and again, I mentioned a few things at the beginning when everybody was starting to get on, but it comes down to those 4 principles: confidence, perseverance, patience, and humility. And,
Right.
and people resonate when you come across that way. Have that confidence. And it was funny, Don, what you were saying about, I still go through the mental part of when I'm ready to ask for the order, Don. I've already got it. They're going along with everything. Everything's fine. And now it's the moment where I'm going to ask them to sign the agreement, and I'm still thinking, am I pushing too much now? Or should I, there's those crazy thoughts creep into your head, and you just have to put them out. It's just like, it's almost like the devil, it's like, don't tell me that, you got your angel on one side, the devil says, don't ask for the order. No, go for it. You're fine. Don't worry. They love you. So being able to work through that is what makes the pros the pros. They kind of change their way of thinking. And by the way, that kind of, we can have some more success stories by all means as we go through here. But I want to think, did y'all watch the homework this week? And habit number, I think it was number 4, win-win, talking about negotiating, talking about coming across with that respect for the other person, wanting to understand, seeking to understand first, listening, right? All those things that really build that relationship and that trust in you as a really honest, good person. The person that doesn't want to listen to anybody else and just wants to talk all the time doesn't come across that way. So, again, did anybody watch that video? I mean, it was 37 minutes or 35 minutes and 37 seconds, whatever it was. You can take a break once in a while because he breaks it up. But, Stephen Covey happens to be one of the real masterminds of psychology of sales and all that stuff. So if you haven't been watching that stuff and doing the other parts of the homework, please go back, check it out. It's good stuff. I actually had my wife look at it too. because, you know, he gets into relationships, win-win. How do you communicate with your family? He gets into examples of how you treat your children, raise your children, and how, you know, it becomes a win-win, where not a win-lose or a lose-win and all that psychology. But anyway, by all means, watch that homework. All right? So anybody else want to chime in with a great story? We got time for one more.
Mike,
Yes.
you ready for me to share?
Yes, ready. Fire
Okay.
away.
All right. So I was making my FSBO calls. It's challenging when you just seem like you have so many things to do to carve out that time. And I said, okay, I'm going to make FSBO calls. I think it was Thursday. And so I came across a couple of listings. One I had left a message for, and it's listed at 6.9 million. And keep in mind that my highest sale has just been at 400,000. And so there was another one listed for 3.9, and I said, well, I called some other people, so I'm going to call them. What else? What else can they say but no if I present myself? So I actually got the owner of the property, but not only is he the owner of the property, he's the owner of the subdivision. And so we get into talking, and he starts sharing, and we're talking, and I guess I asked the right questions, or one, I remember to say, like Mike says, that, you know, I'm calling because I do want to help you get this property sold. I made sure that I was clear about that I wasn't bringing him a buyer right now. And so he went on to tell me a lot about the property, about the subdivision, about the history of the property. And as we kept on talking, I said, is it off of such and such a street? He says, yes. I said, well, that's literally 5 minutes from my home. As a matter of fact, when I went to go take my son to go look at registering him for a particular pre-K program, I passed right down past the street. And so it was a good dialogue. He said that I didn't seem as inexperienced. He could tell I was an experienced agent, unlike some of the other calls that he had gotten. And he literally spoke to me for at least a half hour. And I was able to get him to commit to a time to meet with me virtually, because he lives out of state and he's from here, but right now he's not been able to get back to the property, and why he hasn't listed it, blah, blah, blah. So I scheduled the appointment with him for Monday. And I'm not in the luxury division, so of course I had to reach out to the luxury division. And I got a referral, and we were able to hold the appointment with him virtually on Monday. Now, I texted him because I hadn't got a confirmation from my invite. He then said that, well, today seems a little hectic. We may have to schedule for a different time. And so I sent him a question and he didn't respond. So I picked up the phone and I called him. And when I called him and talked to him for a few minutes, he turned around and kept our appointment for the same time that we initially set it up for. The meeting went very well. Of course, with that type, he had an agent that he was loyal to before. She was not marketing the property, which is the difference of what we're talking about doing. He went as far as to even talk about some of the other properties in the subdivision and the plans, and again, what we could do. And he gave us all the buying signals and affirmations that we need, that we could possibly get this listing. Now, we are doing a follow-up, so I'm going to follow up with him today. And you don't want to overpressure anyone, because it's not the same as one of your traditional listings. But all of the questions and the whole, just the whole way the conversation went with him was very, 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 very positive. And he's engaged with us for a good amount of time. And for me, I guess what I want to share is that, like Dawn, when we have not encountered something for the first time, and we're stepping up our game to a whole different level. It's like you're shaking in your boots. Can I really do this? Should I do this? I don't have Mike to talk on the phone with me. Okay, I'm going to do this anyway. And so the courage that it took for me to get on there and make the call, and then after he answered, I didn't do like my husband, say, oh shoot, what should I say now? That's what he did the first time we got on the phone. He's like, okay, what should I say now? And that's what I had to overcome, that I didn't do that. And so by what they're teaching us through this coaching class is what gave me the confidence to try and use the right communication with the prospect and to follow through. And even after he looked like he was not going to get on the call, to turn around and reach out to him and not be afraid, because this is what I want. So if I want it, I've got to be willing to go after it, but go after it in the right way that keeps him engaged and wanting to talk with me and communicate with me. So I'm really excited. Even if I'm going to speak that I'm going to get it, but let's say, for example, if I didn't, I will have overcome another obstacle within my own development and growth, that I can go after another one that is not in the price range that I've sold to as of yet.
Excellent, Angela.
All right.
Excellent, excellent. In fact,
Beautiful.
I know Angelia shared some of this process with me a little bit, and I understand that initially he was not interested in doing a exclusive listing. He was only wanted to do an open listing, and now you've already overcome that hurdle. From what I understand, he wants to go forward and possibly do well, anyway, you'll keep us posted next week.
Yes.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
It should be on VPR Live as soon as you guys.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's talk about what are we going to talk about here? Let's keep moving forward here. All right. Struggles and frustrations. One-on-one. Now, later, sometimes. But if you have a question or something and you're frustrated, don't hide. Pick up the phone and call. All right. If you're frustrated, again, we're not psychiatrists or psychologists or whatever, but we all get down. We all have those days. We all run into difficulty. We all run into challenges that we can't overcome, and maybe we do have the answers. And that's the power of we is you've got the resources, and especially again, most organizations don't react the way we do when people need help. Our brokers are great. We've got some great people in our company to help. We have experts in certain fields, and like Angelia was saying, she picked up the phone, called Melody, said, "Hey, I need some help in luxury homes. Give me some guidance." And I'm sure she gave you information from a marketing standpoint that was resonated with your prospective client there. So again, we've got the meat, like RB says, right? So just hang in there and speak up if you need help. Again, on the homework, I can't overemphasize how some of those videos and that information on the homework, Steve did a really nice job pulling that stuff together. It's excellent mindset, and some really good information that can help you. Of course, I like quotes and Dale Carnegie and all these old timers here, right? But I love this one. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Now, that's not a slight on your marketing. You do want to market yourself and get people interested in you, but the best way to do it is by giving great service to the people that you already know or come in touch with. And again, look at the opportunities that come out of meeting one person that leads to another person that leads to another transaction, and so forth and so on. And in fact, Don, I was going to ask you on that on the Op City lead, are they going to be buying with you too? I mean, again, how many sellers, no matter what it costs to get them, you have a second transaction and the referrals that come with it and stuff. So anyway, if you take care of people, they'll take care of you. Everybody says it. They all say it in their own different way, whether it's Zig Ziglar or Dale Carnegie or Earl Nightingale or Tom Ferry or Mike Ferry or Brian Buffini or Joe Stump or any of these people that have been around our industry for decades. They all say the same thing, and it all goes back to just really good living. I mean, be honest with people, have the confidence. If you're asking for the right thing, you have every right to it. I would say the universe, there's not entitlement, but you are entitled to go after good things in this world. That's what our Creator wanted us to do. So, go for it. You were given skills, and the number one thing that we're all commanded to do, if you will, is serve our fellow man. And if you become an expert, like Earl Nightingale says, if you become an expert in your field, if you study it and you become you really learn and gain that knowledge and wisdom in your field of endeavor, you will be a leader in the industry. And that's why, quite frankly, 10 or 15% make it, and the top 5% are the ones that are living the life that they deserve, because they have really delved into the knowledge and the skill, and they've gone through coaching programs and training programs. I mean, it's amazing. When I started doing training with these other organizations all over the country, it was more of the top producers that were coming to these programs than the people that weren't producing. They were willing to invest money and time. I mean, 5 hours a week, $1,000 out of their pocket. That was cheap. But they did it, and they wanted to do it, and they continue to do it. And you look at, anyway, so just take advantage of what's there, and take care of the people, and they'll take care of you. So today I want to talk about controlling your attitude. I want to talk about and learn how to set goals and how your attitude has to be and needs to be towards setting goals. We're going to talk about running your business like an industry leader, what the top realtors are doing across the country. Time management is going to be a topic today, and that's probably the biggest thing that we have to deal with. Just like Angelia was saying, you got to schedule this stuff. It just doesn't happen by itself. We're going to talk about building a great team. If you're interested in growing and building a team, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about also that marketing checklist, and again, how to present what you can do to get top commissions and get the listing and compete against other real estate companies, right? And then we'll talk about the next couple weeks of work and what our objectives and goals should be for the next week, the next 2 weeks as we go through there. All right, so let's talk a little bit about attitude. Controlling your attitude, positive attitude, right? Positive, what is it, PMA, positive mental attitude? I guess that was back in the 60s or 70s. So this quote disappeared, but don't worry about it, because I wrote the quote down. And somehow it's kind of like, it's simple. It's another Dale Carnegie. Listen to this. If you want to conquer fear, don't sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy. If you want to conquer fear, don't sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy. Pick up the phone. Go see somebody, right? So some tips on controlling attitude. Success in business and in real estate is like math. You have to build on the positives, okay? When you find your niche, when you find something that's working, when you're having success, again, you get a listing, build on that. You get a listing under contract, build on that. You get a referral to some buyers. Well, guess what? They may know other people at their age and their state of life that want to buy homes too. Ask for referrals, right? So build on the positives, eliminate the negatives. All right? Cut off the negatives, right? And multiply your efforts. So a little play on words, but again, build on the positives, eliminate the negatives, multiply your efforts. When I say multiply the efforts, again, I'm a believer that hard work goes a long way. And I was taught that early in my life. I believe in it. I don't think you can make, big money in this society by working just 40 hours a week anymore. But again, the better and more skillful you are, you'll be surprised. You can get a lot more accomplished in less time. And that's where skill comes involved here. So, and then you have to learn how to divide, if you will, your personal time and business time, right? So we'll talk a little bit about how all that plays out. But if you really think about it, your attitude is going to control everything that happens in your life. And I think, I don't want to harp on that, but I, when I come around negative people or people that are always worried and complain and the anxiety and all that, and I'm not saying don't be conscious and conscientious about what's important. I mean, you've got to take care of business for sure, but you also don't have to look at everything in a negative way. And there's too many people out there that really do. So, I always say, if you don't like your environment, it's kind of like a country song lyric, right? If you don't like your environment, you got three choices. You can leave it, you can live with it, or you can change it. I mean, I hate to hear people complain. Oh, I hate this. I hate that. I'm not happy with this. I wish this was different, whatever. Well, do something about it. Either leave it, live with it, or change it. Now, to me, I realize that the world isn't perfect. I mean, virtual properties realty is great, but we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. No relationship is perfect, right? I mean, we're all human. So my attitude is I like to change things for the better. I guess at some point you might have to leave it. And if that's the case, leave it, but stop complaining about it. If it's that bad, if you can't change it or you're not willing to live with it, then get out. So I mean, to me, it's pretty simple. And for to not be happy, I look in the mirror first. What is it that I need to change? It may be something I need to change about me so that I am now happy in my environment. So again, I don't want to turn this into a psychology session here, but you know where I'm coming from. Also, you got to admit it's your choice. If it's to be, it's up to me, right? So affirmations go a long way. Self-talk goes a long way. Confidence is built sometimes not only by what you've done, but how you feel about yourself. Okay? So, a little affirmation. I am an excellent realtor. I am a good person. I am in control of my life and my career. I believe in myself. I am successful. Now, maturity goes a long way. And insecurity is not maturity in my mind. All right? So there's no need to be anything but positive, confident, successful. As Tommy Hopkins would say, sometimes you got to fake it till you make it, but you're not faking it. You're doing the best you can with what you have. And that's really all you can do. And you should be happy about yourself. You should feel good about yourself. And you should be, as one of my old mentors, if you will, somebody that I kind of looked up to because he was kind of an interesting guy. But what did he always say? Do right. I'm talking about Lou Holtz, right? The football coach, whatever. Do the right thing, and you should feel really good about yourself. All right? You're helping people do one of the most difficult tasks that life presents itself. Buying and selling home, the huge investment, the what do we say in a spiritual religious way, that the church is the home. The home is the church. The home is where families grow, people develop and grow and learn and contribute to society. It's such an important part of our lives. I mean, I can't imagine how you wouldn't feel great about what you do being a real estate agent. So again, just work it and make it work for you and keep that good attitude. I like to get up in the morning and have a positive experience. So, reading something positive, some people pray, meditate a little bit, have a good breakfast, get off to a good start, have your, we're going to talk about it, but have your plan already worked out for that day so that you wake up and you don't have to be thinking about what am I going to do and how am I going to handle this and all that. Work that out the day before. Put a plan together. We're going to talk about that. But anyway, any questions while we're talking on these topics here? Any comments? We'll keep moving here. Okay, another tip on controlling your attitude, besides the affirmations, right, is attitude towards goals, right? So good quote from Earl Nightingale rather, time cannot be managed, activities can. All right, keep that in mind. Activities can be managed. You can't manage time, right? So attitude is a composite of your thoughts, feelings, and actions, right? So when you see somebody with a good attitude, right, what they're reflecting is what they think and how they feel, and their actions show that too. So again, your attitude is a composite of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. That's what people are going to see about you. How do you feel about things? How do you think about things? What actions do you take in life? That's what people are going to determine is your attitude. So they're going to, we can't hide our feelings and our attitude sometimes, right? You got to, and that's where you have to control your attitude, right? So, goals to control attitude, here it is. First of all, you got to be committed. And like I've said before, and honestly, people that are committed, I'm 100% with you, right? You got to be, the goals have to be specific. So you got to make a commitment to these goals. These goals are really important to you. It's not a choice, it's a matter of fact. You must be specific with the goals. That's why I say, start off with the number. Okay, what is that number that you want to, need to, have to, however you want to define it? I would say that you really want to and believe in is, your right to it, if you will. Here's how much money I want to make, I need to make. Be specific. Then we break it down. How many transactions is that going to be? How many appointments is that going to take? How many conversations is that going to take? Et cetera, right? It should be a bit of a stretch. People that have goals that are not beyond what they've already accomplished sometimes don't achieve those goals, okay? In other words, if your goal is the status quo, okay, maybe that's okay. I mean, it's your choice, but I think it should be a stretch and there should be a reward tied to it, right? Okay, so it's got to be measurable. It must have a deadline. And that's why it's important in this coaching that we're talking about to set those specific goals for a specific period of time. I like to do it on a weekly basis, okay? So in other words, if I want to sell 50 homes a year, I know I need to get on probably, for me, 2 appointments a week, might be 3. So I'm breaking it down to this week, I got to get on 3 appointments. Period, end of story. This is not by the end of the month. This is not by the end of the quarter. I'm keeping a short-term deadline on as much as I possibly can, right? So it also has to be something in it for you. There has to be something you want for you out of this, okay? And, I hate to say it, but top producing salespeople sometimes have an ego that is satisfied when they get recognition. Now, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I think most of us humans like to get recognized for something that we do once in a while. We like that. We like to hear that thank you. We like to hear that we appreciate you, Mike. You know what I'm saying? So I think, you've got to realize that, whatever it is, I like plaques. I like trophies. I remember when I was running track as a freshman and I was doing pretty good. And a senior came up to me one day in practice and said, "Hey, Mike, just remember one thing. It's all about the trophies. It's all about the hardware," is what he said. In other words, we're going to work our tail off, and the reward at the end of the day is getting that trophy, getting up on that stand with the first, second, and third place, and getting the medal put around your neck. If that's not a reward for you, you may be in the wrong field here, because we ain't getting cash. What's in it for? Well, it made sense, and I ended up with, I think in high school, over 115 trophies and medals, because again, I wanted that recognition. I wanted to be the guy on the stand that won the race. So figure out a way to motivate yourself. Figure out something that really is important to you. And you got to be able to visualize that result. And again, I remember when I first moved to Atlanta, I got transferred in, right? I took over the Atlanta South branch for Rollins Protective Services. And I had built a house and lived in it. Well, it was under construction, whatever. I bought it. And it was, it was our first home here. It wasn't anything. It was a nice Cape Cod. But I wanted to move back in closer. This was out in Lawrenceville, not quite as far as Hamilton Mill, but off of Brazelton Highway. Anyway, I wanted to move closer in and saw some ads. And I had just gotten my real estate license. I was doing it part-time. I was a branch sales manager with Rollins, building the team, having great success. But my wife and I, we had come up from Florida, and we were kind of fascinated with some of the style of the architecture of a lot of these homes. And this was 1990, right? 89, 90. And we were going around looking at some of these other new homes, and we were only in our home for a year and a half at this point, or 2 years. And we saw some John Wheelan neighborhoods, and we liked this. And we went in, we saw that. He was very popular at that time, and the prices were good. And so my wife and I found a floor plan and a frontal, elevation, that was at one of the John Whelans. And I brought it into work. This was like the house that hey, let's see if we can build this house, right? So I brought it into my office at Rollins, my sales manager's office. And to the left was my phone, and there was a wall. My desk kind of came out from it. And I put the picture of that elevation right there, so that anytime I was talking to a salesman or a customer or whatever, I kind of had that in my view. Well, darn if we didn't build that house. You didn't buy it from John Whelan, but several months later, we decided to build and met an agent with the plans and the builder and the whole thing. And it was, and again, it turned me into a believer that if you visualize some things, you'd be surprised what comes out of it. And anyway, but also goals, and you got to review them on a regular basis. All right. If you're not keeping up with it, if you're not using Sisu, and you're not setting a goal on how many calls I'm going to make, and you're not reviewing the activity and seeing where you are, again, if you're going to run your business like a business, you better believe it that, businesses count the register every day. They're looking at the receipts. They're looking at the receivables. They're looking at those numbers, and you got to run your business like that if you want to be successful in real estate. Any questions up to this date here while we're talking? Or while I'm talking? Thanks for being here. I know some of people are on some of the other training that's going on right now with the Bridge program. Of course, there's going to be more classes and all that too. So thanks for being here today, though. There's so much going on, right? So running your business like an industry leader, right? Reinvest. Now, you don't have to do 20 to 30% anymore. Although some people put that much more into it. If you're paying for advertising and leads, if you're using things like agent marketing, if you're spending money on mailers, postcards, technology, improved technology and equipment, you might be actually paying, as you grow, an assistant, an administrative assistant person that should be a licensed agent. We'll talk about that. You want to invest money in advertising to attract new business. So you want to advertise for new business, and you also want to maintain your mailing list, your sphere of influence through your CRM system. You need to, again, follow work an extensive mailing list, the 16 contacts per year. If you're dripping on people, so to speak, if you're maintaining that relationship, you have to send them something of value that they're interested in. If you're doing that once a month, they'll never forget you. Again, I would say, mail or email monthly, and you can mix it up. So maybe they get a standard email every month, but every once in a while you also send a card. Handwritten notes still work. You'd be surprised. Postcards, phenomenal. Again, and I'm a homeowner. I don't get too many postcards anymore. You know, a lot of people, a lot of agents say, well, everybody's doing it. I'm not going to do it. Everybody else is doing it. Well, guess what? They're not all doing it. Not all of them have really good social media content. Not all of them do any kind of postcards. Not all of them call for sale by owners or work expireds or follow up with them over time. So, you know, you do it and you'll be in that top 5 or 10% of the country. Okay, invest in technology and training. And again, thank the Lord, we're at a company like Virtual Properties that, you know, has more training than you might even ever need. But when it comes down to it, we have some of the best technology, right? And we have training to go with it. We have, you know, some of the technology providers provide great training for their technology. So not only are we training internally, but we have the external experts coming in. And that's the great thing about the concept that Virtual Properties had from the foundation, was to bring the best of the best into this company. You know, we're not so proud that it has to have a VPR stamp on it or we can't teach it. No, we you know, or a KW. So, oh, you know, they got all the answers. No, the answers are out there. The universe is full of them. Let's find the best. And that's what you do. You want to attract the best of everything that you can find, that you can afford. Nowadays, 10 to 20% would be the most. But again, pay yourself first. Okay? Make sure when you're making money in this business, you want to put some money aside. Okay? That's what I mean by pay yourself first down there. Make sure you are putting money into some kind of good investment for yourself, or investing in real estate investments too. So, you know, put a plan together so that at the end of the day, you can look back on each year and say, hey, yeah, I might have made 200,000, but I was able to save 20 of it, and I, you know, kept my taxes down, netted so much, kept good control of my expenses, but I noted everything. I mean, you need to keep track of your expenses, especially you buyer agents that are out there on the road driving around with buyers or taking people, you know, following them, they're following you and all that stuff. Delegate to an assistant up to number 7 there, or team members. So again, at some point you may want to expand your business and bring on administrative help. You know, again, you wouldn't list a house for a seller without a signed agreement. You need to get that buyer agency relationships put to bed before you spend a whole lot of time on somebody, quite frankly. So again, it's got to be a win-win. You got to understand them, they've got to understand you, and if you could come together, it can be a win-win. Constantly focus on building inventory. You know, I put that last, but to me, that's first, because people buy houses. Houses sell houses. That's the name of the game. And the more you can get connected to the inventory, the more you're going to be in transactions. And like we all know, many sellers are going to use you as a buyer also. And the fact that you can advertise property, you can promote your listings through advertising, social media. You know, again, that's what draws people to you is the inventory. Quite frankly, it's not so much you. I mean, you want to, you know, document your credentials and put that out there. More importantly, inventory and testimonials. Okay, third-party endorsement, other people quotes. You know, those 5-star ratings, right? Great testimonials. What was it we were talking about? Testimonial Tuesday, or whatever it is that Steve mentioned, I think somewhere, or somebody mentioned that they noticed is going on. Great ideas, because again, people will resonate more with what you've done to help and serve people than they will with anything else about you or your company when it comes right down to it. So again, capitalize on that, be that kind of person. And I think you'll see a lot of success come out of it, right? So time management, another big key, right? So when it comes to time management, there's some truths. Number one, you decide what you're going to do with your time. You got to believe that. I decide what I am going to do with my time. I am in control of that. Secondly, I can only do one activity at a time. Okay, I know you all think you're great multitaskers, okay? and the ladies are going to hate me for this one, I know, because we all know that women are great multitaskers, right? So, but the reality is the power of focus, the power of focusing on something and putting the distractions aside and using your full mental capability at any point in time on what you're doing. Okay? Nowadays, like you go on an appointment like Don was talking about, you got to get focused on that. You don't need to be taking calls from anybody at that time. You don't need to be looking at your email at that time. You don't need to be checking your text messages. You don't need to be thinking about anything else than in the moment. That's what successful people do. They say Einstein's greatest power was the fact that he could focus on one thought, one idea for such a long period of time. And that's why he was able to figure a lot of stuff out. So, slow down a little bit, organize yourself so that you can. If you're making calls, you don't need to be doing other stuff. You need to be focused on the calls. Anyway, we all share time equally. None of us get an extra hour every day. Time is irreplaceable. It may be the most valuable commodity, if you want to call it, that we have in life. I mean, yeah, and you can't replace it. Once you've used up yesterday, it's gone. You can't go back in time. It's not reversible. I don't care what Back to the Future, the movie said, but you can't go back in time. You can't reverse. You can't, deny what has happened already, but we can not save time up either. Okay? You can't say, well, I need a couple extra hours on the weekend, so no, you can't save up time. So what you can do is invest in time. If you invest the right activities, your time into the right activities, that will make you more money. In other words, you can only work so many hours a week. But the fact is that if you work the right activities, if you invest your time into the right activities, it'll multiply your income, right? Some ideas, examples to realize the value of 1 year. Ask a student who failed a grade. Think about all the students that couldn't go to graduation because of what happened, stuff like that. To realize the value of a month, ask a mother who gave birth to a premature child. To realize the value of a week, ask an editor of a weekly newspaper or blog or whatever. I mean, hey, little extra E in that week there, just making sure people are paying attention. To realize the value of 1 hour, ask lovers who are waiting to meet. To realize the value of 1 minute, ask somebody who missed a plane. To realize the value of 1 second, ask a person who just avoided an accident, right? Realize the millisecond, ask somebody who won the silver medal, not the gold. So the point is that time is very valuable. And we should use it the right way. So, think about your life in a sense. And it really kind of gets divided if you have a family, let's put it that way. And most of us, even if we are alone, we still have an extended family relationships, if you will. But you have your personal life, you have family life, you have business life. Every one of us gets 168 hours a week, right? Nobody gets any more, nobody gets any less, right? So as long as we're all standing vertical on the planet, we get 168 a week, right? So what do it's kind of like looking at your life. If you divide it into those two categories and you have goals and objectives, if you will, you have priorities and you have an action plan. So if you take a look at your business life, your goal obviously should be very specific. The objective being to generate an above average income doing what I enjoy. That could be an example of a goal or an objective in your business life, right? Priority-wise, if you're in real estate, your highest priority might be to have inventory, to have listings. That's number one. Go out and get the listings, the buyers will come. The sales will happen. So then down below, you would put an action plan or the activity plan. Well, what are you going to do specifically to get listings? Well, I'm going to do expireds. I'm going to do referrals. I'm going to do for sale by owners. I'm going to geo market myself. I'm going to advertise. So you put down several activities that will employ the strategy to reach the objective and goal. Same thing in your family life. Well, you know, I'm again just made this stuff up. To love it and support my family any way that I can. You know, that's kind of my objective, to be honest with you, right? So, you know, I want to be there for them. I want to provide for them the best way I can, and you know, do the right thing, right, as a parent. So, you know, what's the highest priority? Well, to care about what they care about, because that's what caring is all about. In other words, it's a win-win for us. It's not just what I want in my family life. My priority is to care about them and help them, you know, understand and care about other people too. So what am I going to do? Well, guess what? I'm going to try to get home for dinner several nights a week. I'm going to take some time on the weekends. I'm going to get involved in maybe helping coach, or maybe I'm going to spend time with my spouse doing certain things that we like to do together. You know, so I'm going to take my time, my week, and put down some activities that I'm going to commit to do to the family. You know, I'm not going to work 24/7. I'm going to spend some time with the family. So again, it's time, a lot of time, right? Personal life, to be at peace with myself and like what I see in the mirror, right? So my priority is to enjoy my time off, not think about work maybe, right? In other words, I really enjoy my work. I really get focused, but when I'm off, I want to take a break. I may want to enjoy some time play golf with one of my good buddies. I may want to, you know, go to the pool, go to the gym, do a couple things that I like to do on my own time. Now, you know, we're talking about this and it's like, well, wait a minute. How much time do I have to split up? Well, this little graph, if you look at it, 23% of the time would be the family, right? Now, you see there's 55 hours of work down there. I'm saying if you worked 55 hours a week, right, out of 168, right, minus 55, that leaves 113 hours, right? So that's, you know, working a couple nights, working a weekend afternoon or day on a weekend, you know, working, you know, 3 or 4, you know, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, working maybe to 9 a couple of times, so total of 55 hours. That leaves 113 hours. Now, on a personal basis, I figure, you know, probably 7, 8 hours sleep, another hour in the morning, you know, hour in the shower, getting ready. I mean, even if I spent 9 hours a day between sleeping and personal hygiene times 7, that's 63 hours. I take the 63 from 113. That gives me exactly 50 hours left. 50 hours to spend with my family or playing a round of golf. Heck, that only takes 4 or 5 hours. Going to hit some tennis balls. Family, you know, what I'm saying is if you break it down, there's more than enough time. The key is to get on a routine, to get on a schedule, right? So some time management recommendations. First of all, convert income to activity. Just like we've been saying all around. Here's how much I want to make, break it down to the activity that's necessary to generate that business, right? The success formula, we're going to talk about that. What is the formula for success, right? Okay, in our business, listings are the way to the top. Agencies, buyer agencies, seller agencies, big key, right? One-stop listing appointment. Just like Don figured out, right? Go out there. You don't have to do it 2 or 3 times. You can go out there and get the listing on the first appointment, right? Saves you a heck of a lot of time. Track your results. Why? Because then you can analyze and weed out the activities that are not working for you. So again, expenditures that are not working for you, the time that's not working, that's not paying off. Analyze it, because then again, you're gonna start converting. You're gonna start doing more activity that leads to greater income. Finish what you start. Biggest problem that a lot of people have is they start something, they don't finish it. So see it through to a point where it's the next, stopping point, if you will. We're project managers when it comes down to it. We're taking a transaction from its initial impetus, if you will, or initiation, all the way through the process. So you've got, again, you've got to stay on top of things. You got to finish things, complete things. Separate lookers from buyers. Okay, very critical. Automate your target marketing. Okay, the more you can use technology nowadays to stay in touch with your market, going after your market, that's the way to do it. Always do a to-do list. So at the end of the day, review what you've done and what needs to be done. Put that list down, time management, put it on your calendar, etc., on your phone, on the app. Make sure that you are on top of what needs to happen. To me, that's the biggest way to get a good night's sleep, is have the to-do list done and just forget about it. Turn it off for an hour or 2 or 3 and go to sleep and just relax, right? Tour, don't preview. Well, here's what I'm saying here is nowadays, if you're working with a buyer, right, you want to bring them in the office or assign them the portal, whatever, and let them do tours of properties without going out to see 50 of them one weekend. Okay? In other words, narrow it down to the best of the best by doing virtual tours, touring on FMLS, et cetera, okay? Waste time honestly. If you're really done for the day, well, don't fake it. I used to see, and I still do, quite frankly, see agents coming in the office. Not many, virtual, but you will see this, and they're just kind of wasting time. They probably don't really feel like working that much, but they figure they come in. Now, coming in the office to me has always been a good thing because it does get me to work. And being at home, again, is a big problem, I think, for a lot of agents because they're really not working. They're kind of wasting time. They're jumping from this, they're jumping to that. Oh yeah, the phone rings or somebody comes to the door or the neighbors, whatever. And I don't know. I mean, I think that we can waste a lot of time. If you put in a good 40 to 50 hours of work, you're gonna make a lot of money in this business. All right. Learn how to delegate. Learn how to bring resources in. Okay. Angelia, good example. She's not an expert on luxury homes. Get some help. You're not an expert on working with investors. Tap into Adam Whitmire's things. Send that client to the lease purchase depot instead of wasting time showing them houses before you ever get them pre-approved. Things like that. So delegate, get your partners to do their job, the lenders, the closing attorneys, title companies. Make sure that you're communicating with those other resources. Another time management recommendation, I do a lot of calls in the evening. Okay, weekday, 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, good time to make calls. People are getting off work, they're coming home, their work day's behind them, they're more focused. Perhaps Saturday morning, a great time when people are home and you can reach them. Again, they don't necessarily have to be home to reach them, we know that. But anyway, so that's pretty much, that. And then, when you're finished for the day, make your list, clear your desk, right? Just ready to go. So anyway, some tips there. Any questions on what we were talking about? One thing that I like to emphasize is back on that, figuring out back on this slide here, your action plan for each area. Okay, the activities that you're going to do. Just think it through. And again, I think it will lead you to a little happier result when you really figure out what are my objectives and what is my highest priorities and what are the action plans and the activity plans. So taking a look at that. All right. So as you grow in this business, you're going to see that you may have an opportunity to build a team, right? So if you do build a team, if you do start a team, there's some mindsets that will work. First of all, it's no longer me, it's we. Okay. So you want to have the you want to have that attitude that it's a team and everybody's success is dependent on everybody. We're all working together, and yes, you're the team leader, you're the boss, so to speak, but it's a win-win environment, right? Team members must be licensed. All right, be a boss, not a buddy. So you got to draw that line. You can only go so far, with that relationship. And again, teams in real estate are configured in different ways. You want to, I'd say, be a friend, but not a buddy. So you don't have to go to the bowling alley with them or go to dinner with the family and everything all the time, stuff like that. I would say, just again, remember your position. Develop an exit strategy for yourself too. Build a book of business. Build you may want to retire and turn it over to your team at some point in time. So there's opportunities when you build teams. Another awareness is leave your ego at the door. Okay, you may be great. You may have done a lot of business in the past. You have that confidence, but also be humble. Right? Watch for negative Ned and procrastinating Paula. Okay, so you got to be careful with the people you bring into the organization. A rotten apple could ruin the whole bunch and all that stuff. So, you want positive people that are workers, that are proactive, that are self-starters, right? Never run it by the seat of your pants. So you should have a plan. And what we're doing here is hopefully going to help everybody start to develop a plan. Systems like Sisu are perfect for teams where everybody can have certain objectives, activities that they're focused on, results that they're shooting for, goals, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, have a system there. Stay focused on building inventory. Again, the most successful teams in real estate, with a few exceptions, we have some of them here. They really, they have the inventory, right? So they constantly have houses for sale. And right now they're selling quickly. So it's a matter of constantly replacing that inventory with more inventory. Some tips on building a team. All right. So first of all, lead by example. Okay. You should, I remember having been a sales manager, national sales manager, and working for top executives. I remember when I was the national sales manager at Rollins Protective Services, Paul Roman was the president for a number of those years. He was the first one to the office every day. In fact, nobody would leave until he left. but it was just that, hey, get in early. I pride myself nowadays. I get to the office at between 8 and 8:30 every morning. I'm usually one of the first people in the office. That's okay, because that's what I expect people to do. So lead by example. If you say you should be doing certain activities, do those activities. Don't be the exception to the rule. You set the rules, live by the same rules. Hire your broker as a consultant. In other words, yes, we have a lot of people here, brokers in particular, that have had teams, that have been in this business, that have been around other people that have had teams. So again, you're running a business, your broker's running a business, good idea to kind of tap into their knowledge and wisdom, right? Never recruit from within. I don't care what company you're with, whatever. You've got to, you can't be stealing team members from other teams, right? Praise in public, critique in private. And I'm sorry about some of the graphics today. We'll get that squared away next week. But again, praise in public. And another note, when you're praising in public, okay, you want to praise with a specific story or example. In other words, it's not, Hey, Jeff, boy, you're really great. You just did a great job this month. Just want to commend you. Well, that's good. But the better way to do it might be, Jeff, the way you were able to bring in those listings and get those under contract so quickly by pricing them right last month was very impressive. The more specific you can be with the praise, the better effect in public in particular, the better effect it will have on the people that hear it, because they'll know specifically what it was that you're praising versus, hey, you just did a great job last month. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, more likely to do what you do versus what you say. Okay, so again, just lead by example. Let me just get caught up here. So it's more likely to get to your people, your team are more likely to do what you inspect than what you expect, right? So that's an old adage in management. You'll get what you inspect, not what you expect. So you do have accountability. Again, I would be using Sisu for an accountability tracker, if you will, system, so that you can, again, check on it, see how people are doing. The good thing about tracking results too, and the more detailed, without going crazy, the better it is it really gives you a tool to figure out what needs to be worked on, what each individual, in particular on a team, is their strengths and weaknesses, right? And some of their weaknesses, I always say, convert activity, your income to activity, and also focus on what gives you the most return for your investment of time, right? But a lot of times people don't get a return because they don't have the skill. So again, when you start to analyze people on your team, some of them are making a great effort, but they're doing it all wrong. So if you straighten that out, you get better results. Some people may be trying to do something that they're really not good at. So it's better to get them doing things that they're better at that'll give a better result to the overall production of the team. So again, analyzing people from a positive win-win position, not, well, we brought this person on, we thought they were great, but they're not doing what we want them to do, so we're going to fire them. No. Why don't we figure out why they're not great first? Again, can they learn this activity and be really good at it and be more productive? Or is there something else they could be doing that they're going to be very productive at and it will pay off, for us? So anyway, pay off with pizzazz or pizza. No, just kidding. But pay off with pizzazz, meaning when, hey, guess what? Virtual Properties does it with pizzazz. If you've been to our annual awards, if you've been to our holiday event, we do it with pizzazz. And that's important because people like to be appreciated, and it's worth it to spend a little bit more because it really pays off, right? Build on the 50-50 rule. In other words, it's an equal win-win. That's the principle there. And remember to have your teams at 100% support of all company functions. Kind of drives me nuts when some of our people that have teams here don't show up for certain events. Don't come to the corporate meetings. Don't go to the things. Don't be like that. Support the company events and activities. Be involved. It's only going to pay off for you. So it's a great way to lead a team, right? So any questions up to this point? Open it up here for comments, suggestions, questions. Let me look at our chat. There's a whole bunch of chats here. Okay, here we go. Remind is great for postcard mailings. Good idea. Okay. Stories, right? Okay. For sure. There was some really good testimonials or stories that we heard today on success stories, right? All right. Just looking through here, see if there's anything else going on here. Okay, good comments. All righty, so let's just talk a little bit about, again, just kind of a review of a couple things. Again, if you're doing a marketing checklist, the idea is to show everything that you could do. So this you want to develop this list. And again, it's a great comparison to what other companies might or might not be doing marketing, because there is some activities here. There is some things like doing the repairs, getting an appraisal, willing to do open houses, pre-inspection, all that type of stuff. A lot of agents don't want to get into that. But again, if you've got a buyer or seller rather that wants top dollar and you want to get that listing, here, put that checklist of things that you're willing to do, and you may not do them all in all times, but go through that. So again, they can see, again, we have extensive marketing list details on our website in the listing things. This is kind of an augmentation to that, or a supplement to it, where you can go through and do a comparison. I'm gonna show you a company comparison chart in the next couple of weeks that we put together here at the company. And again, just to give you an idea, so you can, if you are competing against another real estate company for a listing, you can compare. This is a commitment type thing. In other words, I'm going to do all these things here. You get the owner to sign off, you sign off on it, and then that's a mutual. It's a step towards getting the listing signed. So what we really need to focus on for the next week or two as you go through is I said set 6 listing appointments over the next 2 weeks, right? The key is to use your CSU and keep track of what you're doing so that you can really at the end of the day look back and see where you have opportunities, right? You want to, again, those of you that have not put a listing presentation to PowerPoint, or again, could be a flip chart, or it could be just some pages that you bring, that you leave, but you can refer to. The visual part is very important. So you should have a visual presentation, PowerPoint, have that done, and enjoy the time and all that. But I think the key here is the prospecting. And so to be successful, going forward, continuing to prospect on a regular basis is the key, right? So again, that's all I have for today. Some great success the last week. Keep up the good work.
Can you show one of the slides?
Say that again?
There was a request to show one of the previous slides.
Okay,
That
thank you. Let me see.
I wanted to see it too.
Yeah, which one was that?
If
Remember
you,
which slide?
I think it was about the 2
Oh,
weeks.
slide, please show the previous slide again. Career success for 2 weeks. Oh, okay, yeah, hold on. Yeah, we're on a 1 week cycle, so you can cut it in half. But hold on, let's get over here.
I think it was that one.
Right. So again, prospect, I'd say 3 times a week with the idea of setting at least 1 appointment. And I know for sure, if you get on 3 appointments, whether with buyers or sellers, listing appointments, agency, you're going to be successful. So 3 a week is the key there. Schedule, oops, hang on. And then finalize your presentation. And refer to VPR Central. I need to update these slides. I will do that. Right, get that done. Recommit to your goals for the end of the program. Right, and enjoy life a little bit. Right, take some time off. Although right now, I go back to, what was it, 1977. I was working for Rene Ruiz, the highest ranking native Cuban in the what do you call it, merchandising business, retail business. He used to say, you got to shoot when the ducks are flying, and the ducks are flying now. So if I was going to work an extra day, like I did last week myself, on a Sunday, do an open house, now's the time to do it. Turned into a contract that we got, binding, closing, and all that stuff. So any other questions, gang?
Mike, you mentioned the velocity consistency report. I must have missed out on that.
That's the same thing as CSU. That's
Oh,
what
okay.
we use CSU, yeah.
All right, thank you.
That was paper. Now we've kind of, made it all up to date. So thank you for asking.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have a comment or a question that we can help while we're here? Well, it's Wednesday. It's already Wednesday afternoon, isn't it?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is it called? Contingency with kickbacks.
Kick out?
Yeah,
With a
kick out.
Yeah, let me just move forward here. Yeah, a contingency with a kick out means that, okay, the seller has accepted a contract contingent on the buyer selling their property in most cases, right? So the buyer makes an offer, says, hey, we'll buy your house by this date as long as our house sells. So that's the contingency. The kick out means that the seller, if they can accept other offers, continue to market their house. If they get an acceptable offer, they have to notify the buyers, the first people in the primary position. They have to notify them and give them a chance to remove the kick out or the contingency and go forward and keep the contract and close, or let the contract go because they can't remove their contingency. So in other words, the seller can kick out the first person when they've got another offer in that they're willing to accept by notifying them. And if the buyer does not remove the contingency, then the buyer is released from the contract and the seller can take on the other contract. Does that make sense?
Okay, that makes sense.
Cool. Thank you, Rain. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Got a few more minutes. Looks like we're good. Let me look at the chat board one more time. Can you show the previous slide? We did that. Okay. All right. Well, listen, everybody that was here today, I appreciate you. And don't be a stranger. Feel free to call. I'll be there for you.
Oh, Mike, one other quick question. I'm sorry.
No
With the Haynes crisscross, this actually came up a few weeks ago. Haynes used to have a do not call, I guess, that was like the standard, way they were set up.
Right.
So I didn't have to worry about making phone calls to, the do not call folks. Now there's something else in place where you have to have a different account, I guess, in order to do that. I can't remember because it's been about 3 or 4 weeks since I looked at this matter, and Albert was supposed to be working on that.
Okay.
But what is the story now? Because I want to be able to use that phone service, but if that do not call is not in place, of course I'm going to be afraid to call anyone and then incur, I think it's a $10,000 fine.
Yes.
To call the wrong person, do not call person.
Yeah, there's.
So what?
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to check with Albert because I'm not sure, and I'll find out. I'm making.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that.
But here's the other thing. On I've been dealing with the do not call list since it first came out, right? Which a couple decades ago now, and in the rules, if you call somebody that's on the do not call list, as long as you don't call them back and apologize and state that you will put them on your list for do not call, they won't fine you and you won't get fined.
Okay, good.
In fact, I can honestly say, having been in security and 30-something, 40 years now between these two industries, over 20 years each, a lot of people making calls. I've never heard of a realtor or another salesperson getting fined for do not call. It was really designed also for the the auto dialer type systems and the automated cold calling systems that they have out there. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, but we need to find out for sure what the deal is with the no call list.
Thank you, Mike.
I'll check it out for sure. All right, good question. Anybody else? All right, gang. Well, then let's go ahead and end the meeting, and we'll see you all next Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And Then we're leading up to the next week. We're off because of the Labor Day holiday. And so next week's going to be fun. It's the end of the month just about. And I think I'm on call too. So I'll be busy in the evenings taking calls from y'all and looking forward to helping everybody. Take care.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Let's see here. We got a couple more chats. Also, we'll have the stats next week on the separate groups. Going to take care of that for you. So anyway, okay. Leverage, right. Do, do, do.